This is the Lexus RX, and it's a Japanese alternative to a large luxury SUV. And this has a starting price from over $90,000, a reliable and efficient hybrid powertrain, and compared to anything else, resale value historically has been pretty good on an RX, so what is there not to love? Well, we're going to find out whether or not if you should buy one. And for anyone new, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the bell. And let's talk about the RX. First, what is there to know before walking into a showroom? Well, with a starting price from around $90,000, this is much more attainable compared to a BMW X5, but not as affordable compared to a Genesis GV70. And there are many different versions of the RX to pick from, including some different trim levels, and many different powertrain options between hybrid, turbo petrol, plug-in hybrid, and the configuration is also pretty good. A decent selection of colours for the exterior and interior. And just for context, the one I'm featuring is a $115,000 RX 350 hybrid, all-wheel drive in the sports luxury trim level and optioned with the enhancement package. And for servicing, warranty, running costs, everything you need to know has been listed on your screen. And let me know in the comments down below if you think that is reasonable from Lexus. Okay, let's talk about styling. The front section gets bi-LED headlights with LED DRLs, and you can also upgrade to more powerful matrix LED headlights as part of the enhancement package, and auto function for the high beam and washers to clean the headlights, but unfortunately there are no washers for the rear camera. And lower down, a fake air vent and an open air vent section with this interesting grille design pattern. Moving on to the side view, the sports luxury gets a set of 21-inch grey multi-spoke wheels, and along with Bridgestone tyres, there are also automatic power folding mirrors, privacy glass from B-pillar to the back, silver roof rails, and if you go for either enhancement package number 1 or 2, you get a large panoramic glass sunroof that does open and close. But my favourite feature on some of the new Lexus models has to be the door handles, which are electric, but they do work like regular door handles, but only electronic. Like on previous generations of the RX, at the back this features a coupe silhouette, and on this latest version you get 3D effect LED tail lights, which also combines into a light bar. And I do also like the Lexus lettering on that top section. There's also plastic body cladding, and write down your opinion of what you think of the design, as that is subjective. Let's now talk about the interior. So this is a big step up compared to the previous RX, and I do like the two-tone black and brown combination. But I still think a Genesis GV70 does look a lot better on the inside, but let me know your feedback in the comments below. And what about build quality? You get these electronic door handles, which I think are pretty cool, and you can open them manually in the case of an emergency. But I don't like the gloss black over here, but I do like the leather steering wheel that feels pretty nice to grip onto, and it is complemented by wood grain. The dashboard is also soft and squidgy. You get suede over on that far top section, more suede on the door panel, and again, soft and squidgy where you rest your elbow, and even on the bottom section. Soft over in the center section, more wood grain and soft where you rest your elbow. The seats are also finished off in accented leather with this suede material, and they also include seat heating, ventilation, electronic seat adjustment, memory and lumbar support, and the seats do offer plenty of support, which means they are comfortable. The steering wheel can also be heated, and you can also electronically move it up and down, forwards and backwards. And within the 14-inch screen is the climate panel, which is fixed into position. So if you cycle between different menus, that stays in its same spot, which means all of it is pretty easy to use. And you've also got physical dials for the climate panel, along with a volume dial and some shortcut buttons on the steering wheel. And first go, I thought the infotainment system was a bit confusing, but so far now, living with it, I think it is fantastic. And it is a Toyota system, but without that horrible mousepad setup that Lexus used to use. And if I go into media sources, AM, FM, DAB, USB, Bluetooth, Miracast, and a 21 speaker Mark Levinson sound system, which sounds pretty incredible. Other key things to mention, you've got inbuilt satellite navigation with live traffic updates, voice recognition that works with Siri, wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. And if I go into car, energy flow, this will show you what is happening with the hybrid system. And if I flick it into reverse, you have a surround view camera system with multiple angles and views to pick from, but I don't think the quality is that impressive compared to a BMW or Mercedes. And if I click on view, like in a Toyota, you can go into a 3D 360 view, which isn't all that useful in my opinion. This car can also self-park itself, and there are also front rear parking sensors, front and rear cross traffic alert, and a camera for the rear view mirror. So if you flick that down, that is going to project an image. There's also blind spot monitoring and a safe exit warning assist. So if you open the door, that is going to alert you if an oncoming car is coming your way. A lane departure warning with a lane keeping assistant. Adaptive cruise control that keeps you within distance between yourself and the vehicle in front. Automatic forward collision warning. A driver monitoring system, a head-up display showing, again, all of your vital key information, but I'm definitely not a huge fan of the screen in the middle because that is straight out of a Toyota, and there is a lot of information to cycle through. Storage is also pretty good. There's a decent sized glove box, a spot there for a phone, 2 USB-C charging ports, and some more storage down the bottom here with a 12-volt socket, USB-C and A port, a wireless phone charging pad, and 2 small cup holders, which you can also extend up to make it more suitable for a coffee cup. The glove box opens up in 2 different sections, and down the bottom, decent center storage. The door bins are also pretty spacious and they can fit a large water bottle. There are vanity mirrors on the sun visors, a sunglasses holder, and climbing in and out is pretty easy. And you also get a remote key, keyless entry, and push button ignition. Here in the back with this seat set in my position, knee room, toe room and headroom is pretty good. In the middle section, knee room, toe room is okay, but headroom is a bit cramped due to the fact that you have this large sunroof, but you can electronically recline the seats to give yourself more headroom. But there is no ability to slide the seats forwards or backwards, but you can move this forwards and backwards. But you can also move the passenger seat forwards and backwards. But if you do want to carry 3 people in the back, a BMW X5 or Mercedes-Benz GLE are both better options. But it is still pretty luxurious back here. The 2 outboard seats can be heated and ventilated. There are directional air vents with a climate panel, 2 USB-C charging ports, map pockets behind the front row seats, decent door bin storage that can also just fit a large water bottle, manual sunshades and grab handles, LED lighting, a flip down armrest with 2 small cup holders and a bit of storage. But what about child seats? Well, the 2 outboard seats are ISOFIX compatible, and right behind me there are 3 top tether points. Let's now talk about boot space. This model grade comes with an automatic kick sensing power tailgate, and from what we can see back here, you have over 600 litres of boot space, and this does have a bigger boot capacity compared to the Genesis GV70, making the back section bigger than a Genesis GV70. And there's also enough room for 2 large suitcases, and thanks to the flat load section, it is easy to load items into the back. There are also tie-down hooks to keep items in place, shopping bag hooks, LED lighting, a 12-volt socket, and over on the far corner, buttons to electronically fold down the second row. However, it is worth pointing out that the seats do not fold flat, and you've got a sloping roof line, which means the back section isn't as big compared to a BMW X5. But in my opinion, the Lexus has redeemed itself. Some of the model grades come with a tyre repair kit, but some other model grades, including this one, get a space saver spare wheel and a toolkit. Before we go for a drive, let's take a look at the powertrain. So this here is a 2.5 litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder petrol engine, which develops 140 kilowatts and 239 newton meters of torque, and that is also combined with an electric motor that gives this powertrain a combined output of 180 kilowatts, and it's also linked with a CVT transmission. And of course you've got that option between front wheel drive, whereas this is the all wheel drive, which is front wheel drive based, and at the back there's a rear electric motor. Okay, the driving impressions inside the Lexus RX. Over the bonnet there's decent forward visibility, and you sit in the seats opposed to on them, which means you don't get a commanding driving position like you do get in a BMW X5 for example, but it is easy to climb in and out, and it does feel quite sporty for an SUV. It feels more like a crossover, which I think to some people might be a good thing. Side vision is also pretty good. Wing mirrors are a decent size, and at the back rear vision is a bit narrow, and I was a bit disappointed at that camera system because look, the quality is okay but not as good compared to a Mercedes or BMW. But one key benefit with the Lexus compared to a Mercedes or Audi and BMW, it is very comfortable. You have thick profile tyres, there are no run flat tyres like on the German competitors, so going over really harsh bumps, especially around here, the eastern suburbs, you barely notice the bumps, and it is very quiet in the cabin thanks to the noise insulation. It also does take off when you put your foot down, and the steering is also pretty direct for an electric system. You can also change the drive modes and configure how you want the car to drive, but it isn't as sporty or as characterful compared to a BMW X5, nor should it be. The hybrid system is also pretty smooth. It works exactly the same as a Toyota system, so quiet at low speeds. You can push the EV button if you have enough charge in the battery and run it like an EV, and it does work a little bit longer, but not as long compared to a Camry hybrid because this car is a little bit heavier. It's also got regen braking that feeds energy back into the battery, and even the stopping ability is pretty good for this type of vehicle. In terms of safety, the driver monitoring system does go off, but it isn't annoying. It just shows a message, and the touch sensitive buttons do take a bit of time getting used to, but I do like how you can control multiple functions and it shows up on the head-up display, which is, I think, a very useful function. And yeah, setting the cruise control, the system is much better compared to previous Lexus generations, and even things like the automatic braking, blind spot assist, the lane centering system, all of that work fine. And what about fuel consumption? Lexus says that this RX 350h with the 2.5 litre hybrid powertrain will achieve on a combined cycle 5.4 litres per 100. It does have a 65 litre fuel tank, and it does take 95 petrol, and driving around the city I averaged 6 litres per 100. That figure, however, did go up to around 6.5 to 7 litres driving at motorway speeds, and that is pretty normal for a hybrid. But I think those fuel consumption figures are fine, but tell me what you think in the comments down below. And with my driving impressions out of the way, let's now wrap up with a verdict. So then, a conclusion on the Lexus RX. Some of the bad points, I'm not a huge fan of the styling. The interior does come across a bit plain in certain areas, and it isn't as engaging to drive compared to a BMW X5, nor is it as spacious compared to an Audi or a Volvo XC60. And I know it does start from around $90,000. Once you start adding on options, packages, trim levels, the RX will get expensive. But that said, the hybrid system is very good, and a Lexus RX will hold its value compared to some of the main competitors, and it's also going to be very reliable in the long run. But tell me your feedback. Would you pick this over something else? And do you want me to feature any other cars, anything specific? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.